YouTube. It is about that time. That time is referring to Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the beta. Should I say open beta? Or at least it has been since yesterday on Saturday. But anyway, what you guys are all here for. Modern Warfare 3 experience. Or at least so far, the beta. Now, one thing I will say before I get deep into this video, I had a decent amount of fun playing it. Could have gone worse, but it most certainly could have gone better. Anyway, enough of me trying to beat around the bush. We get right into it. Just a couple of disclaimers. Number one, everything that I say is going to mainly be subjective. That might be a big word for some people, but essentially, a lot of this is going to be based on my opinion. My opinion can be different from yours. That's a-okay. We all have different experiences. We all have personal preferences. It's perfectly fine. There's no need to try to clown each other or me for the things I'm about to say about this game. Because for all we know, it's going to be an entirely different game at launch. I can barely say it with a straight face. We know how Call of Duty betas go. And we've seen how the beta went for Modern Warfare 2, but that's a different topic. Anyway, I'm not going to completely bash the beta because it is a beta. There are going to be issues and glitches and all that other stuff, but at the same time it's Call of Duty, so I really want to expect too much different from the beta to launch. Besides Modern Warfare 2, what I did enjoy, the weapons. The weapons, for the most part, in Modern Warfare 2, they're all pretty solid. At least from what I've seen, and the 3 to 4 guns that I used. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really care too much for any other weapons. The main weapons that I use was pretty much the Striker to unlock the Slate Sight for it at level 12. The BAS-B battle rifle after it got buffed or adjusted, because apparently there were some hit detection issues with it. And after that was the PKM, the Scorpion, whatever they call it in here, the Ratfire, whatever dumb codename that they gave it. It was okay. The AMR9, I had a bit of fun, but I didn't have to go through too much of the leveling process for it because I bought the Vault Edition for the game. And if you didn't know, not only does that give you the operator skins for, you know, Ghost, Price, Makarov, and Warden, but it also gives you all the attachments for the AMR9 and a handful of other guns. But anyway, back on topic. Yeah, those are pretty much the only guns that I used. Everything else is kinda either alright or I just seen gameplay of. I didn't have too much interest in any other weapons. The MCW or ACR, Striker, I mean, those guns were definitely the top contenders for the beta pretty much the entire time, even after the Striker was nerfed, because it was just simply that good. The ACR was pretty solid, but I didn't really care for it too much because, I mean, who hasn't seen the ACR already, you know? The maps. The maps, for the most part, they are alright. But I feel like for the beta, they could have gave us some better maps to play. What we had was Skid Row, Favela, High Rise, Rust, and... Fuck. Hold on. What was that map? Alright, take number 365. The maps were Estate, Skid Row, Favela, Rust, and High Rise. I forgot the name of the maps for a second, but instead of maps like Estate and Skid Row, maybe Favela, probably could have replaced them with maps like Scrapyard, Invasion, maybe even Terminal, but for still probably see maps like those for launch. I don't think anyone's too excited for Derail though, but that's just me. But the maps that we did get to play, they played out alright, but you know how Call of Duty is, the SBMM, stuff like that, but we'll get to that in a second. The color palette for this game, um, compared to Modern Warfare 2, in my opinion, they pop out just a tiny bit more, but that's give or take depending on the map. I did enjoy the way the game looked. I did enjoy how the game feel, movement wise. The one thing that people complain about in Modern Warfare 2 a lot, because, you know, you pretty much got punished for being aggressive, and early on that they said, or should I say Infinity Ward, they said that they want Modern Warfare 2 to cater, not cater, but like help out the playstyles of all players, yet for the most part, I mean, if you've seen the one meme from Modern Warfare 19 where the guy looks left and right across the street, or before he crosses the street, and then he just gets immediately blasted by everyone at once. That's, I mean, that's pretty much how Modern Warfare 2 was. It catered to more, let's say, less aggressive, more stagnant players, because the game didn't really have too many, I guess, movement options outside of doing the little technique where you reset your attack sprint a bit faster, or you just ran lighter weapons. But even then, some of the lighter weapons in there, you still felt like you're running in molasses. But this game, they addressed that for the most part. They brought back slide canceling, which is, you know, all the G Fuel snorters, they're fucking raving about on Twitter and shit. Reload cancel, which personally I didn't have too much of a problem with until a little bit later on in the game, because I did catch myself a couple times trying to reload in the middle of a gunfight and did get me killed, but I did get used to it after a while. But just the small stuff like that, they fixed that in Modern Warfare 3, so I guess a thumbs up. Unfortunately, I think that's just about where all the good things that I enjoyed about the game ends. As for the things I dislike, number one, I don't know what was up with Ground War, but not only did I get several scanner repair errors, but I literally could not play the game mode without getting a super insane packet burst. It wasn't just that game mode, but almost every game that I tried to play in that game mode, it was unbearable. And speaking of unbearable, I don't know if it was just me, but the visibility at times, whether it was like the lighting or nameplates, even after they made changes to it, I still found it a bit hard to see what I'm looking at times. Not even just the player, but sometimes the map. But it might have to do with that grayscale thing with the fog that they have going on. It's a bit hard to describe, but if you play the game, you'll notice it on maps like Favela, where it's much more noticeable. If the game was more saturated, I don't think this was much of an issue. Exclusive Ace made a pretty good video about it. Go check that out, and you'll probably get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Even after me praising the movement, it still felt clunky at times. I don't know if it was just me, but sometimes it felt snappy, sometimes it didn't. The game is just, it was just weird to me overall. Not because of movement being back or anything crazy like that, but it just, I don't know if it was just like a responsive issue or if it was just me not playing the beta enough. But do let me know how you feel about that. And speaking of feeling, I'm a controller aim assist peasant, don't make too much fun of me, but sometimes my aim felt a bit off. The aim assist was strong in Modern Warfare 2, I'll admit that, but like in here, I didn't. Sometimes it felt spot on, sometimes it didn't. Like sometimes I'll overshoot, sometimes I'll undershoot, stuff like that. But like I said, maybe that's just a me thing. I didn't play enough to get used to it. I mean, you're probably seeing from the gameplay me being pretty accurate and me being not very accurate. Spawns, do not even get me started. game modes and maps like high rise dom or just high rise in general. I don't know what they were thinking with the spawns in this game, but the revenge spawn in this game is crazy. I don't know how in the world their little program works and dictating where people spawns or whatever the case is, but I found myself getting shot in the back from a guy I just killed. And when you're in the street, it's not very fun, let me tell you. And speaking of shots, the hit detection also felt a bit spotty at times, but that could just be a me thing or a connection-based thing. And as for my final complaint, the A94 is dog shit. Or whatever dumb codename SVA556, whatever dumb codename that they gave the gun in this game. Like they changed the names of every single gun. But I'm gonna wrap it up. As for the final verdict, as for whether you should get this game on launch or not, the game is decent, but to be honest, anything's going to be better than Modern Warfare 2, right? Because it's not that much of a bar to set higher than. Then again, if you bought the last few Call of Duty games, what is another year of Call of Duty going to do to you? But end of the day, it's Call of Duty. I mean, it's the yearly release that you see year in, year out. What is another year going to do? It's up to you if you want to open your wallet again to them for the year, or you wait for it on sale. Doesn't really matter, it's Call of Duty. But that's just my opinion of things. If you guys think differently or similarly to whatever I said in the video, do be sure to let me know and share down your experiences and what you guys think of the beta. Are you guys going to be getting that at lunch? Whatever the case is, you know, let me know. Talk to each other. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. I shall go ahead and hopefully catch you guys into the next one. Laters.